We'll let people know it's not finished yet. It's just the introduction of it.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is KDK, Kiodiekin, and we are live right now. I'm going to go ahead and share the link first. You guys give me a few seconds because I know it takes a little while for YouTube to register the live link. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I got a very special guest here today. So we will begin very shortly. Probably give it a couple minutes. All right, give me a couple minutes here, and we will begin very shortly. I know you guys are anxious to see this, so we got some new updates for you. Crap. Where's my... Trying to figure out... Oh, there it is. No wonder. I didn't even tag my own self. It's funny. Let me make sure I got the volume turned off because I don't want to get hit with a bunch of copyright notices. All right, currently we got about 6 viewers. Just give me 1 second, guys. I am live here with WDG from the Supreme Team. WDG, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right,
Just
perfect.
waiting for you to set up everything.
Oh yeah, we're live. The camera and everything's rolling. So I'm just trying to.
Sweet.
Everybody can hear us right now. Just logging into the chat.
People are going to be very interested to see what's all going on here.
Definitely. All right.
Big improvements.
All right, fellow YouTubers, guys, thank you guys for joining us. This is very much impromptu. Just wanted to give you guys a brief look and introduction to Supreme Ultra. And so it was actually almost a year ago today. We met and talked here with WDG from the Supreme Team. Here, let me go ahead and turn my sound off 1 second. Hold up. I got to get out of this because I can't see the comments. Yeah, so there was almost a year ago. We had a chat talking about would Retropie work on the Pi 4. And so as of today, this is where we are, ladies and gentlemen. WDG, go ahead and introduce yourself for those of you who may not know who you are.
So I'm more Dirty Gaming. I'm from the Supreme Team. I started off as a Retropie builder, and then because I had Linux knowledge, I ended up making my own basically builds and edits of builds of Retropie, also a recall box and so forth. And I seen there was a lack of people porting over Retropie to different hardware. I seen there was a delay in that, so I joined the bigger community that was involved in that. There's other names out there that do this. I'm not the only one that ports Retropie and other front ends to other devices. There's plenty of other talented people out there right now. But for myself, I do it now for the Supreme Team. And as much you may know, Supreme Team was actually the first team to actually port Retropie over to the Pi 4 officially. Not that hunky-junky copy and paste files over from official Retropie build and do that. It's actually a custom installer made by the Supreme Team to work on the Pi 4.
Right,
and
right.
Since that, Yeah, and since that, it's been that way for a while. I've been doing it since maybe the Pi 1. So we ported, RetroPie from the Pi 1 to the Pi 2, 2 to the 3, and 3 to the 3B, and so forth. But it's been a very interesting trip with the Pi 4. As most may know, there has been a lot of downsides to the Pi 4. When it first came out, there was, obviously driver support missing for a lot of things. RetroPie was not yet supported, and we're still at that point right now where drivers are still very limited. So people like me and in the community have to make
Oh, definitely.
call it unofficial or hacked up versions.
All right, definitely.
So
Yeah, so pretty much, guys, we're going to give you guys an overview of Supreme Ultra. We're going to talk about all the new add-ons, things that have been added on here. As you guys all know, I've been harping on this for the past couple of months that image makers will no longer be, well, at least the ones I know anyway, will no longer be supporting or using SD cards. So to get the best optimal, efficient rating, speed for your RetroPie build, and I'm telling you guys, it makes a huge difference. Everything will be exclusively going over to SSDs or external SSDs. I can tell you the transfer rates are a lot faster. In fact, it was just today I got this build about maybe 2 or 3 hours ago, and I transferred my entire, I think it's 300 gig ROM set with media and everything in about an hour. So for those of you guys who are image makers and used to transferring ROMs over your network, usually it could take all afternoon. But I did it in about an hour, 30 minutes, maybe an hour, 40 minutes, something like that. In fact, WDG was like, hey, man, are you done? Like, what's the percentage rate at? And I was like, well, I'm almost done right now. So,
yeah, like right now, people are, builders in general are actually making RetroPie images, and they don't have this USB support natively added for the Pi 4. I think it's just silly now. I don't think a user should download and waste their time downloading an image that doesn't have this update. Like, I'm sure builders like Virtual Man and so forth will have like that update script added, and then they can update their build. But for most builders that are out there, that I'm not saying the ones I know are not going to be able to do this, because obviously I know builders right now that are using Supreme builds because it's convenient, right? Everything's done for them, and then they take their knowledge, their ROM sets, and all that, and they make what they want to make. And I don't have a problem with that. But myself, I don't. Supreme team don't release builds with media and ROMs on them. We've completely got away from that stuff. I know people kind of get angry. Why are you scared? Blah blah blah. It's nothing like that. It's just that we're focused on making a front end that's user friendly that people can build off of. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely. So we're going to kind of go through some of the new options. The first one you guys are currently looking at right now is the Supreme Team Marquee tool. Now, I know you guys have seen a few of these out there. I'm going to kind of go through these for you guys, but WDG, you want to talk a little bit about it, about the Supreme Team Marquee tool?
So the Marquee script in general has actually been on the Supreme builds for a very long time, back in, I believe, April. This whole video that came out with the Duo team saying that Arcade Punks labeled them as first is, it's the first Marquee build that came out publicly, like just, it came already installed and everything in the image, but it hasn't been the first. At the Supreme team, we're not first as well. There's actually a guy in a group, in the arcade group, I believe the Arcade 1-Up group, named Chase Cobb. I believe he was the first one to do the Marquee like the script and all that stuff. And then there's a guy named AI that people may know of. I can't remember what the name of it is. He made a hardware version of it, which I modified with his permission to make, as we see here, the Marquee script. And then a few other developers took it and made their own. But the script that the Supreme team is using right now was made, months ago, maybe actually longer than months, maybe a year ago. And the Supreme builds have always had it. It just never was activated because I didn't think I should install it. But when that video came out saying, oh, look at everybody, this is really big popular, and I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I should add it at, the start. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely.
But yeah, Supreme Beta 4, Supreme Unified, from back in the Pi 3 has had the Marquee script installed. You just go to the Supreme Online Toolkit, and it's like the seventh option on the menu, install Supreme Marquee. It's been on the Supreme builds for a very long time.
Right. So right. So let me chime in on this a little bit. So as you guys are currently looking at right now, on the left side of my screen, we have my Retropie 4. And on the right side of my screen, we have the Sega 32X. You guys can see the marquee. Now, there's several options for this marquee. With this marquee, you could use box art, you could use pictures, or you could use video snaps if you like. And what you can also do is create your own video marquee specifically for either the system or the game. But I know if you do it for the game,
and that's like you're showing right now, right? Like this marquee kit, like this set that you're using right now, it's pretty old,
right?
Like very old. And that's why you can even see the date on the media file, like when it was created, right? So when people argue with me saying, the Supreme team wasn't the first, I'm not saying we are. Like I said before, there's other teams that have done this whole marquee thing already before me. But when people talk about, oh, this is the first, that's the first, I'm like, you know what? You're never the first. I'm sorry to say, not even the Supreme team is always first. Not anybody. Like when I say I ported over Retropie from the Pi 3 to the Pi 4, I guarantee you there was someone that did it before me. You know what I mean? You're never
definitely
first.
All right, so you have several options. You can display a generic logo for the system. You can make a video out of it. You could use the box art, and you have several different.
Do you have box art? Do you have box art installed for those ROMs right now, or no?
I believe I do, but I just wanted to keep it simple for right now and just give everybody an overview about what it looks like. But
go to the marquee toolkit and actually go and turn on box art. See if it displays it.
All right, let's pull it up right now.
Yeah, so
let's see. We're gonna go back to options. Oh, and just to let you guys know, before we get really further into this, this is a Eeprom updated Retropie. So this will work on the 4 GB, and it will also work on the 8 GB. So some of the Supreme builds can already, as far as Supreme Pro, and I think maybe a couple of others, you can convert it over to external or USB 3.0.
Yeah, you can do that right now with any build, technically, the Eeprom update, but Supreme Ultra will come with it natively. So what the user does is they simply burn this image to a USB or an SSD or hard drive, any device that they currently own, and they just plug it into their Pi and it should boot up. Only if they have an updated Pi, of course, right? So the Pi 4 hardware must be updated with the newest Eeprom. And when Ultra comes out, there actually will be a 1 GB build, and all you do is you burn it to an SD card, and all the build does is update your Eeprom. And then once the Eeprom's updated, you no longer need the SD cards. Your Pi 4 will be always updated to that latest Eeprom. And then go from there. You just plug in your build to the USB and go at it. You can plug in a 16 terabyte hard drive and have fun that way, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So right now I switched the marquee folder to pull up from the box art. And like I said, I can't remember if I have box art installed for some of these systems, but as you can...
The best part is, if the box art is missing, it will install it for you like it's doing right now. So the box art that it cannot find, it's actually going to add that box art folder in that media folder. But it looks of it now, you actually don't have... quite a bit.
Yeah, I kind of figured
or
that.
Do you actually don't have those systems installed? If you look at the list right now, do you have those systems installed?
Most of these systems are installed, but like I was saying, I don't have a lot of the box art folders. I mean, I know I do have box art, but they're probably with another particular ROM set. So if I did have box art, the marquee would change to the box art, so that way it pulls from the same folder. That's the same folder you guys are typically familiar with. When you scrape your ROMs, you get box art, you get mix art, you get marquees, you get your snaps and everything.
Yeah.
So instead of
what scraper you use, though, right? It depends on the scraper. So if you use the one that's built into Retropie, I believe it uses the folder mix art. I'm pretty sure it uses mix art folder. So I did add that location in the script as well to change to mixart. So if someone wants to switch to mixart, they can do that. But the most common ones is wheel, box art and so forth. You know what I mean? Like, that's common.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
So,
just kind of go through a couple of these.
you know what systems may have the box art? I think like SNES should have box art. So go into that system. And see
Ah,
if
yeah, it does. There it is. It pulled up. Hold up. Let me. I'll restart it so you because I have to switch back and forth for you guys. So let me pull it up really quick so you guys can see it. Yeah, I'll switch back.
yeah, when you start a game up, it should show.
All right. So now I'm switching over exclusively to my camera so you guys can see it. And then I'll switch back so you guys can. All right. So as you guys see now, there is the box art for the game. So that's typically one of the things that you guys can do now with these new scripts.
You need to change the screen there, TV screen. Oh.
What do you mean change it?
Yeah, the video output so you can see the second display.
Oh, here, let me see.
Yeah, so there you guys go.
Oh, yeah. There it is. Yeah, so there you guys go. So there you have it. You have the...
Switch a game so they can see that it works with every game.
All right, let me go ahead and switch another game right now. I know my camera's kind of close, but let me pull up Ninja Turtle.
And this, what you're seeing right now is... I looked all over the web for this because I didn't want to make a script that's already made. There is no Marquee script that does this. The Supreme team was the first to do this script that changes the location of the Marquee that's being pulled from. That I know for sure. But again, there should be some guy maybe in some other part of the world that has made this and hasn't publicly shared it. So I'm not saying we're first, but I'm saying I haven't seen it.
Right, so here we have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time, Turtles 4s for the SNES, and on your right there you guys are seeing the Marquee is displaying the box art. Now, one of the things that I was planning on doing, I'll let you guys in on a little secret. So for my particular image, instead of displaying box art or any of this stuff, I do have a few customized things that I will add. I may end up using some of my video load screens for the Marquee.
You know what? Since you have box art, you actually might have wheel art. Try switching it to wheel art. See what happens.
Oh, you want me to switch it over to wheel art now? Okay.
Yeah, because wheel art would be more of a Marquee style kind of image. You know what I mean? Like it's more of a native resolution to that, so people can see what it would look like. But don't get me wrong. There is a Marquee folder and a Marquee themed folder. So when you scrape your ROMs, most of the newer scrapers have a Marquee scraper option that will scrape the Marquee for you. But there actually is a themed Marquee folder. So if you want to do what we did on screen here, like where it says Supreme Retro Gaming, you can make your own custom ones per game if you wanted to.
Right.
Us, the Supreme team, that would take a very long time. Think about making one for every single game. That's just crazy, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot of work. Yeah, I mean, it took me 3 days just to make loading screens for, I think, what was that, 90 systems or so. And that kind of wore me out just having to render. So, like myself, if you're using Adobe Premiere or After Effects, you know, really pushing the fine line of what you can do, that's a lot of work.
Oh, and there's some other things on here that people are going to be excited about, too. We do have dual support for some systems as well. We have it for Chromium. We have it for Steam Link. So Chromium, Steam Link, we have it for Kodi.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few other applications. Desktop mode, obviously, that's native when it comes with the OS dual screen. So we do have native dual screen support added for applications. I am working on Emulation Station dual screen, but that will come with an update because it's a lot of work, right? Because you have to go through every system and make sure it doesn't look funny. Because you know, different systems put out different resolutions.
Oh, of course. Let me ask you this. So wasn't there something else you were adding or you were thinking about adding to this?
You mean the applications I added to the desktop just recently?
Yeah, for the Marquee, I know there we had talked about a couple of things you were planning on adding for the Marquee, because I know we talked about video.
So the Marquee script that we're using right now, it's called Pi Marquee 2. It's made by a developer that took another one. Let me just look it up right now. Because the version Pi Marquee.
All right, so I'm going to pull up another game here. And
people get very confused because there's so many different versions.
Let's see here.
Sorry, I'm just looking for the folder here.
It's all right. I'm just okay. So there we have Alien Resurrection. So obviously, I'm using two 65-inch TVs. You're obviously not going to get that, but it will be compressed, and everything will be tailor made for your marquee, which is usually about 14 by 9. I will put a link in the description in my next video because I just ordered one, so it's going to take a few days for me to get it here. So I only bought that just so I can test some of this marquee stuff. And it's a what is it? An LCD video marquee display.
Okay, so the original guy, I believe, is like, it starts with, it's spelled Rinalim. He's the original creator of the Pi Marquee 2 script.
Okay.
And I believe his script was made off the one that AI did. That's what his code name is, or developer name. Right. He is the original guy that made the whole Marquee script, which I worked on the project with.
Not to interrupt you. Real quick before I forget. So with this update, you guys no longer have to use an adapter. This is going straight from the Pi directly into the TV or your marquee.
Yeah, that's just going to talk about that. So the original code, you needed hardware. It worked on the Pi 3 and so forth. There's actually two versions of the script that I've worked on. So one uses the Pi, obviously, let's say the Pi 3. So I worked on the project for the Pi 3. So the Pi 3 used the hardware, right, which was made by AI and developed by AI. That's what his name is. And there was another one that used two Pis. So the Pi would output through the internet or through a Wi-Fi or through Bluetooth, whatever method you wanted it to, like a Pi 0, and it would output through that. So that script I work on, right? This new script that we're using now was developed by the guy, I can't pronounce his name, and it's called Pi Marquee 2. Okay. Well, the version that we're using right now on the Supreme Pro Ultra is Pi Marquee 3. It's not publicly released on any GitHub page or anything like that. It's only on the Supreme Ultra at the moment, but I will obviously make a GitHub for it and share it, right? It's the original, because there is a lot of fixes, right? In the original code, there was two issues. Video loading screens would not load, right? Or box art images that would not load when you started the game up. That wasn't working. Also, if the script was on and you didn't have dual screen, it would overlap the original screen, like you've seen in the in the past, right?
Of course.
So there's those two main fixes. But again, the Dynamic Duo found a fix for that too, which is pretty funny how they did it. And then there was an issue where it's not pulling from the correct media. You've seen this before, where it would display just a black screen and it would say error, blah blah blah, right?
Right.
That's all fixed in Marquee Pi Marquee 3. This is the version 3. It's not publicly released. I don't hope people get upset saying, "Oh, you're not going to share it. It's only going to be on the Ultra build." No, it will be publicly released so people can add it to their own personal builds. I'm not like that.
And when you guys do that, don't forget to donate to my Patreon, just from my own kind of consideration for my hard work I put in over here. So yeah, these are just some of the advancements. I've mentioned this before, that if you guys are using the SSD as compared to the SD cards, SSDs, external ones, are obviously a lot cheaper. So I got a 1 terabyte for 160. What was it? 170. And typically, if you got a 1 terabyte SD card, that would run you about 250, I believe it is. And now you could get like a 500.
An error on screen there, eh?
Yeah, it just says something, warning ICP, known incorrect something. sRGB file. Yeah. But yeah, so if you guys are going to get this, obviously you're getting the Eeprom. You're obviously going to have this compatible with your 4 gigabyte or 8 gigabyte Pi 4 model. And as far as I know, a lot of places are sold out of the 8 gigabyte Pi 4 as of right now. In addition to that, you will also get faster speeds, and I can promise you that when I play GoldenEye on Nintendo 64, certain parts of it that would normally lag out on an SD card, I didn't have that problem on GoldenEye. So I know there's a couple levels when you're walking and then it starts to slow down. Didn't have that problem whatsoever. So those are just some of the things you guys can look forward to as far as gaming with SSD on a Pi 4, because there's no more bottlenecking there.
Yeah, there's a lot of, like, on Supreme Ultra, there's a lot of improvements that people are going to be shocked about, right? Like, some key features of a Supreme build or on Ultra is the fix my build, right? Like, you update your build and you break something, you can fix pretty much anything now. So you don't have to download or re-image the whole build. That takes time, right? You lose your game saves, you lose everything, right? You've worked so hard on, right? When it isn't boot up. So if you push F4 on the keyboard, Keo, on the main screen, this menu will pop up, the terminal. Can you show them that?
Yeah, give me a second. Give me a second. I'm going to go ahead and reboot everything so everybody can see the intro and see how everything boots up. So.
Yeah, we made it very, very user-friendly because a lot of times people will, they'll get a weird message on their screen saying, "Oh, this is broken, right?"
Right.
Like I've seen it in all the groups, right? And there's no way to fix it, and they type on these weird commands like raspi config and do this update and do that. For a new user, they don't want to be able to type all that stuff in, or they don't want to. It's not just laziness; it's confusion as well, right? They're not a Linux developer. They don't know what they're doing, right?
Oh, of course.
So this guy's giving me a code online to type into my Pi. Like, you don't know what it's going to do. You don't know if it's going to fix your issue or it's going to make things worse, right? You don't know.
Right, definitely. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing too, is because who wants to download something that's a terabyte or 500 gigs just to download a script that's going to mess up their entire build? And all they just looking to play their retro games. They could have possibly done without the update. So nobody's really looking forward to that.
Yeah, so push F4 when this loads. So do you have a keyboard with you or no?
Yeah, I probably got to go plug it in. Give me a second here. I'm trying to navigate back and forth here.
Oh, and it also supports, I believe, the Marquee script. The original one supported, it was like 90-something systems. The Dynamic Duo team has 140-something systems, and the Supreme version has 150 systems.
Oh, nice.
Like, we weren't playing around. We wanted a full Marquee experience for the end user. That's why we added the box art support, the Marquee theme support. We added a lot, and we also improved a lot in the code as well. There's a few changes that were made in the script itself, because there was a bunch of errors that I've seen myself when I was reading the code that kind of threw me off, that I had to edit to make it,
All right, so I just went F4. What am I looking for now?
Just push F4 on the thing, on the
right.
keyboard, and then the screen should turn black.
Yep.
I can't see it in the live stream, which is weird.
Oh, okay. So right now we have.
If you push up and down on the keyboard.
Okay.
The arrow keys.
Right. We got power off Pi.
There's going to be a bunch of options in there that the users can now navigate through, and it tells you exactly what it does. So if you scroll down, let's say your build, you get this when you build up, like you boot your build up and it's stuck, right? You can't do nothing. So now the user can actually select what they want to do, though typing it in.
Right.
And get into, like, say they want to go to emulation station, they would scroll through that and look for emulation station. They want to go to track mode and so forth. But let's say your Retropie build is stuck, right?
Right.
Now you can go into Fix My Build, which is, if you scroll there should be an option called Fix My Build.
Okay, we can scroll to Fix My Build, okay?
Yeah.
You want me to select it?
Yeah. And then you select it, and this will show the users what you get greeted with.
Boom, it takes you right there to fix your build. So that's if you guys lock up your Pi device or your build.
Yeah, so in here, you get a bunch of options to do a bunch of fixes, right? And you have a reboot option and so forth. So now you're not just stuck at that black screen. Now you can get into a menu and navigate through it and add fixes, right? Like fix Retropie not, updating. So let's say your Retropie throws you an error and says, oh, you're missing this. So you would click on admin tools, fix Retropie not updating tool. So basically that will fix most of the issues of Retropie not starting, right? And then you go into Retropie setup and you can navigate through there and, fix what's not working. Let's say emulation station is not working. Now you can correctly reinstall it and you won't lose your game saves.
Yeah,
but go back into emulation station, or even if you have a mouse plugged in, go to the desktop and check that one out too.
Yeah, give me a second here. Yeah, so this is a pretty nice menu. I just wanted to take some time out and show you guys this. So you have some of the options here. You have new Retropie menu. You have the Supreme Toolkit with the ES Auto Game List removal. So instead of having to go through all of this itself, you guys have this available to you from the main menu screen in case anything ever happens to your build. So you guys can kind of reset everything directly from there.
Yeah, and there's gonna be more in depth. I believe you're making another in depth video of this, right? You're gonna go through it yourself and then show people.
Oh, of course, yeah. Because as far as me being able to get to the root of everything, I know people really love. I'll be able to just get in here, give everybody a quick tutorial and quick view of what everything is supposed to look like.
And please note that when you're watching this video, if you guys see any errors on screen, this is just the showcase version of the build. It's not finished. There's still quite a tweaking to play around with, like the marquee part of stuff. I'm actually trying to reach out to the original creator. I haven't heard from him in a long time, so I've been trying to get in reach with him. I did get in contact with the guy that took his original code, which I helped and then altered it. I've talked to him, but I haven't talked to the guy I worked with in the past.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because these devs get really busy and wound up, and he's kind of frustrated himself because he made this script for hardware, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
And then now his hardware is obsolete.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that was his like whole cup of tea. He was a marquee. It wasn't Retropie. It wasn't Retropie developed, right? It was made for other small board computers. It was also developed. It worked on PCs. It worked for everything, right? It was universal hardware. But when someone comes out with hey, your graphics card can put out 2 screens, you don't need this hardware. It's like, huh?
Oh, definitely. All right. WDG, was there anything else you really wanted to add? I know there's really a lot to talk about, but I think we've kind of touched on most of the points here for this video.
So I'll go over some key features before the video ends. So in Supreme Ultra, most people know Supreme Pro, right? Supreme Pro has been out for quite some time already.
Right.
And when you go from Supreme Pro to Supreme Ultra, you will notice a difference. So the key features from Pro to Ultra that you're going to notice is the marquee support is natively just added. Pro does have it, but Ultra is just natively added. And then when you come towards, the menus and all that, I've cleaned them up. There's a few more tweaks. We're not going to show it in the stream right now, but the desktop has a few more applications added. Most haven't heard of it yet. I believe it's called PieKiss.
PieKiss, okay.
Yeah, he's a genius. That's a cool installer. The Supreme Online Toolkit pretty much does all that already.
Right.
But to have a installer on its own that I don't have to add all this extra extra installers on the Supreme Online Toolkit makes more free space that I can add other things now, right?
Right, of course.
So it's awesome.
Right.
That's all done for you.
Right. Now remember, guys, this is a quad boot build, so you could boot directly to Pixel, you could boot directly to Emulation Station, track mode, and also Pegasus.
You should actually, before we end the stream, man, show them a track mode.
Oh yeah, you know what? Let me go ahead and pull that up. Let's see here. We're gonna go to options, and do me a favor while I'm checking this. Can you check the chat, because I'm sure there's been some questions, and I don't have my.
Actually, there hasn't been any questions. Just people saying that there's, I got a chubby. I don't know what that means.
What's a chubby? What does that mean?
I've got a chubby. One guy posted. I don't know what's that supposed to mean. Salivating.
All right, so here we go. We go to front end selector.
And that's actually a new script as well, actually. Funny thing.
All right, so now we're going to boot to a track mode, and obviously this is going to restart again.
Yeah, so a track mode has been on the Supreme Pro already, too. It's nothing.
Okay.
Oh, boner. He says boner.
All right, so just so I'm not sure if anybody asked this question, but this is probably another 3 weeks out, because obviously I want to look at it some more too. We're just gonna check out everything and make sure everything's kosher, because that way when it's handed to the public, you guys don't have as many questions.
The Supreme team, like us at a Supreme team, we have testers, right? Like I'm not the only this guy playing around with the build, right? The Supreme team, like I'm part of the Supreme team, but I'm not the Supreme team. People always think the Supreme team is one person. They always go, oh, blah blah blah. No, the Supreme team was created by two builders that had one thing in mind, and then we've spread. We have a few members in the team now. We have very talented devs in the Supreme team now.
Oh no, this is all brand new for track mode.
Yeah, so
I haven't even seen this.
So us at the Supreme team, we do have testers, but it's hard to test this tester, right? So what happens is most times a tester would be like, hey, I'll test the build for you, and then they don't find any bugs. You want to know why? Because they're not a tester. They want it early, basically what's happening.
Well, of course.
So it's hard. So the people at the Supreme team that makes these builds, like myself and the other members, right? We have me and other, I don't want to say their names because Supreme team, there's a bunch of members that don't want to have their name obviously talked about.
Right.
But yeah, this is all like
So-
what you're seeing right now. This theme was actually altered and made by Regals from the Supreme team. He's another builder in the Supreme team. He's actually one of the main guys in the Supreme team. So there's me and Regals were the main guys in the group. There's also another few, but Regals is the one that developed this theme. It's called Old Schoolroom, I believe it's called, and as you can see, it was well put together.
Oh,
Like he
definitely.
obviously took another theme and altered it, like you see in the bottom there, Project Hyperpie, right? So it uses their media, right?
Right.
But it's a very well put together.
Yeah, I'm actually impressed. This has come a long way since the last version that I showed you guys, and that was just about a week and a half ago. So as you guys see, a lot of these videos are here too. And keep in mind, I can customize this myself and put my own videos in here for my own image and play around with it. But the layout is already there, so it's a great skeleton to work with if you guys are an image maker.
Yeah, so the build, this Supreme Ultra, it won't be coming out for a while still. I'm thinking maybe a month, maybe even longer, just because there's a lot of tweaks and edits that need to be done. We don't just push out builds. We're not, what's his name? We don't push a build out every week.
Yeah.
It's just very silly that way. But no, when it's done, it's going to be a very awesome build. It's going to have, like I said, native USB boot support, so you just plug it into your USB port on your Pi and it will boot up.
Right.
You get faster read and write speeds. Like you said, you can drag a 1 terabyte ROM set to your 2 terabyte Supreme Ultra build, and it'll take like maybe an hour. And then the best part is you can play your games while you're transferring the ROMs. There's no more lag. Right?
Yeah, that's why I keep telling people. So while you're transferring, there's no more hiccup while you're navigating through the menus or playing your games. So
Like I don't understand why would anybody use an SD card now? Like the difference is crazy. I didn't see it at first because I had a crap, USB,
mhm.
and then I'm like, got an SSD hooked up, and I'm like, holy moly.
Yep. Yeah, so you guys will see all this soon here in the next few weeks. And there was something else I was going to mention too. Let me see here. Well, anyway, I'll follow it up on the next video with you guys.
Dynamic Marquee. So the original script, yes, it's Dynamic Marquee, but Dynamic Marquee script, like most people don't know, it was actually developed by a guy named AI, a guy I worked with in the past. A lot of people think like the developer that originally made a Dynamic Marquee was the first to make it, but no. Let me click on the this guy here. So let me just check the date that his GitHub was made. So it says like 8 months ago. So the Dynamic Marquee project was made like 8 months ago, it says here, right? AI has been doing this for almost 2 years. So his original code was used to make the Dynamic Marquee script. Because if you compare both the scripts, right, they're both similar. They both read from the same folders. They're both Python scripts, right?
Of course.
A lot of people always think that it's its own thing. It's not. I'm sorry to say it's really not. I'm not saying the guy that made the Dynamic Marquee, potentially did it, but no. The original the original code came from this developer called AI. I don't know his real name or his GitHub name. I just know he goes by the name AI.
Okay.
And he's very intelligent. He's not just made the Marquee script, the original Marquee script. He's made big improvements within. He's made quite a bit of advancements. He's actually part of a development team for the Raspberry Foundation as well. I believe he was talking about something like that. So he's well up there. He's built his own kernels and all that crazy stuff. So he's a very intelligent guy.
All right. Well, guys, make sure you guys go ahead and share this video. I will be back probably within the next day or two with another follow-up with this. Got a few other videos I need to post. If you have any questions, please leave that in the comment section below so I can...
You know what? You should show them quickly the other front end that's on here, just quickly.
What, Pegasus?
Yeah, just as a little treat before we go.
Yeah, I think I've showcased Pegasus before. Yeah, let me see here. Give me a second here. I want to see if... let me see if the Marquee is up for this one.
It should be.
I'm going to switch over. Just want to double check. Okay, so yeah, the Marquee is still up for this one. You guys can't see it, but let me switch over and show you guys. So as you guys see, the Marquee also does work for the Marquee also does work for track mode as well.
Fireslinger, if you want the original code on Discord, I believe it's a small board community on Discord. There's a guy in there. His name is like AI something. He's the original creator of the script, and he actually has a publicly released version of it. Like the Marquee script is awesome, right? Everything's done for you for the Pi 4, right? There is a few issues with it, but if you use his version, there is no issues with it, right? Because it's original. It's developed for the Pi and other small board computers in mind, so it just works.
Okay.
But if you do want to use the dynamic Marquee, again, it's an easier install process. It's just copy and paste. But again, it doesn't have video splash screen support. So if you install it, your video splash screens won't work. You'll get green stuff across the screen, like most people are seeing that with dynamic dual build that came out. That
CRT build.
The CRT build has that green screen coming, like Mad Little Pixel just showed it, cased it.
Right.
It has that really bad green glitchingness on the screen, and then it has a few little bugs in it, and that's because the dynamic Marquee script is from the Pi 3 edited for the Pi 4. It wasn't made for the Pi 4 natively, so there is those bugs. The version that we're using now on screen is Pi Marquee 3, so it uses the original foundation plus the edited versions to make it work on the Pi 4, right? Because it has a dual HDMI, so it needs to read that dual HDMI to display the output, right?
Oh, definitely. All right, I'm going to try to switch over here. We are going to switch over to Pegasus now. I know you guys have been...
I'm not saying, like, a lot of people think I hate the dynamic duo team. I have no problems with them. A lot of people, get confused, and saying, oh, the Supreme team and all these other builders don't get along. The Supreme team gets along with every builder. We talk to builders all the time directly. We talk to, like, for example, Wolfenose, Damaso, or sorry if I say his name wrong, and other builders out there. We have no problem with any builder. And, we talk to other coders in the past too, no issues. A lot of people think we have issues. I just want to clear that up. We have no enemies. And if we do, it's because they don't like our practices. They say that we take things from builds and then we just copy and paste them and we don't give credit. I'm sorry to say we do have a credit system built in, Keo. If you want to show people that, because people always say we don't give credit where credit's due, the Supreme build, every single Supreme build you will ever download has a credit, the official credit system built in that gives official credit to everybody that has been a part. You know
definitely.
what I mean? Like
even the guy who orders the pizza.
Yeah, we always add that. Like, we have, a lot of times when we use someone's theme, like for example Hurst's themes, we've had a few complaints by him saying we take his themes and we, without permission, we don't give him credit. I'm sorry to say his name is in the credit system, and he's been in the credit system forever, and he's also included in the PDF file, for example. I'm not saying, I understand he doesn't like people using their work, I understand that, but we're not doing it, to make anybody unhappy. It's just added.
Yeah, all the work that's done, for those of you guys who don't know, most of the I would have to say most of the major improvements that's been made to the Retropie community.
I want the Marquee to show the systems as you scroll.
Okay.
But when a system is selected, it does display the system.
Oh yeah, when a system is selected, so it doesn't select while you're scrolling. It's only when it's
No,
selected. Yeah. So
I have looked into that, but what happens is you'll get the freezing, right? So if you do, and there's a little piece in the marquee